Hey, and welcome to Girl Be Free, a podcast designed to help women get unstuck and cultivate the life you want on your terms. I'm Siobhan, your host, and I'm passionate about empowering women to live their best life. Each week, you'll hear pep talks that will inspire and push you to take action so you too can start to be free and live the life you want. You can learn more about me at BeFreeProject.com. Now let's jump into the show. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Girl Be Free podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan, where I am going to inspire and motivate you to show up for yourself. This week, I am loving something very, very simple, coloring. Remember how you used to color when you were a little kid? You would get the cute little coloring books and just color for hours. Well, that was me when I was a kid, anywho. So I have picked the love of it back up and just trying to do more self-care, more play, more fun, things that would take my mind off work is what I'm trying to incorporate more in my day. So I am coloring and I'm really, really having fun with it. The coloring book that I absolutely love that I've been using for a while is called I Love My Hair by Andrea Pippins. And it's so cute because it has all these natural hairstyle girls in the book or words that just inspire you and just make you feel all good inside. So I am using that and I will link to it in the show notes, just like any other book that I share. And I got some really cute, colorful gel pens because that works really good with coloring books. I got them from Target and I got another pack from IKEA. So I've been really having fun coloring, just sitting by myself, burning incense, playing some music, and just coloring. It has been so freeing. And then if you follow or read like the benefits about coloring, it's a great way to de-stress, great way to get your creative juices flowing. So that is something that I've really been enjoying. So if you're not coloring, get into it. And then I'm going to share another thing with you this week. I have two things that I'm loving, which is I just finished reading the book An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. And y'all, that book is so good. So I don't read a lot of fiction. I read a lot of self-help and business-related books, and so that's why I tend to share those on the podcast. However, I want to incorporate more play in my life and just do things for fun because I simply enjoy it, and everything doesn't have to be work-related. Hence the reason I started coloring again, and now, reading a fiction book. So this book is so, so good. And I first heard about it because it's on Oprah's book list, right? So, of course, we know Oprah always shares the good books. And then I listened to the podcast Getting Grown, and they are doing, Takia and Jade are doing a book club on their show. And so the next book that they're reading is actually An American Marriage. And so because I love the podcast, I'm like, I don't want to be behind, so I better read the book so I can stay up to date with what's going on. And I could have read the book really quickly, but it was so good. It was beautiful storytelling that I really took my time, and I read it like in 2 weekends. But it's such a good book. It's about this couple who got married and they faced some challenges in their marriage, and you have to find out like how are they going to overcome the challenges. When I tell you, you're not going to be able to put the book down at all. I will link to it in my show notes. So those are two things that I really, really am enjoying and loving right now, and you can get into it. So now we're going to talk about this week's topic, which is let's talk about purpose. And I want to talk about this week because purpose is so trendy, right? You see so much of it on social media. You hear people talk about it on their podcasts. What is your purpose? What is your purpose? What is your purpose? So I thought it would be perfect to just share my insight on it, and hopefully there's something that you can take away that will be beneficial for you. So I remember I think it was like last summer, I was having a conversation excuse me, with my mentee. And it was just so beautiful outside. So it definitely was the summertime. And she asked me the $1 million question, right? How did you figure out your purpose? And she said how she hears people, they talk about purpose all the time and doing work that they feel called to, but she didn't know what that was for her life. And she had no idea where to begin to even look for her purpose and why she was here and what the calling was on her life. So I started repeating all these things that I know, right? What I felt that was true about purpose. And I felt like I was rambling because she was only 22, I believe, at the time. And I felt in my heart like this is not going over well, right? And so I had to laugh at myself. And so I said, let me take a pause and think back and give something really, really concrete on how did I figure out what my purpose was. And I started sharing with her that for years I journaled and journaled and journaled and prayed to God, what is my purpose? Why am I here on earth? And for years, I got nothing. And I thought that maybe I just missed out on the magical fairy dust that everyone like Oprah and Ayana had got, and I just totally missed out on it. And that my life was just going to be me going to work every day just to pay the bills. And it was a very frustrating space to be in because I wanted to know so bad why was I here and that everything that I had went through in my life, like there had to be a reason for it, right? Then it hit me, and this is what I shared with my mentee. What I know for sure about purpose, and this is specifically for my life, is that I first had to heal from whatever had happened in my childhood and in my past that was preventing me from moving forward. Because I personally don't think that if you have all of this maybe negative energy or things that are holding you down, like maybe even unforgiveness, but yet you want to know what your purpose is in life. It's like, how can you really walk in that when you have so much baggage that you're carrying? And so I told her that your purpose is the reason that you are here, the very reason that you are existing in this very moment. It is your calling on life, right? And it's not just given to like special people. Every single person has a purpose for their life. And I feel, again, this is personal for me, right? So take it with a grain of salt or, what do they say? Chew up the meat and spit out the bones. You have to figure out what makes sense for you. But I am just giving you my insight on how I came to terms with knowing what my purpose is. And so I feel that your purpose will push you to serve others in some kind of way, right? And so I know without question that my purpose is to be a light and empower others to be free. And I first had to heal from the things that had happened to me in my childhood before I could ever truly walk in my purpose with integrity, right? And so prior to understanding this, I was asking God for something that I wasn't ready for. So I was asking for it prematurely. And because I had dealt with so much pain in my past, I had to heal, I had to grow, I had to understand things that had happened and why they happened before I could do the type of work that I'm doing now. And so I shared this before, I'll keep talking about it. I had to go to therapy and I was in small group counseling for 4 months. And after the 4 months is when I started to feel a shift because I was then able to let go of some of the things that had been clouding my vision and caused so much pain that I was able to kind of let that go because I went through the healing process. And then as a result of going through that self-healing journey, I got more and more clear about who I was, who I wasn't, what I wanted, why was I supposed to be here, that every single thing that had happened in my life, it was for a reason. And I know, again, without any question, that I am here to be a light and empower others to be free. So no matter what room I walk into, no matter who I come in contact with, my light is going to shine. And it's not something I can turn off. And that light is the connection that I feel with the universe, that I know that I am here to make a positive impact in the world, whether that's motivating you, empowering you, encouraging you, connecting you. Those are my gifts, and that is what I am here to do. And you cannot tell me anything different, right? Nobody can, and I said this, I believe, on another podcast, but you cannot walk up to me and tell me I'm supposed to be a food blogger, right? Because that is not my ministry by any means. You cannot offer me any kind of money to challenge me to do something outside of why I know that I'm here, because at the end of the day, I know that I won't be fulfilled and I won't be walking in what I was called to do. So, how I know this to be true is because once I started journaling and I started healing through my words, and my words became my therapy, I felt such a deep connection. And I knew without any doubt that it was like my purpose was to be a light. I would feel connected to certain things. Like India Irie has this song called I Am Light. And I remember when I heard it for the first time, I cried because I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is speaking right to me. And I just felt something. Also, I can be in rooms with people and they will tell me that I feel there's so much light around you, or I feel so refreshed, or there's just something about you that is contagious. That's my purpose, right? It's not something that I have to turn on or make up or anything like that. It's just who I am. And then naturally, I am a helper. I have positive energy. I'm going to connect, and I'm always going to attract people who have the same type of energy. And I can read, like my body tells me when there is someone who is not good for my space, I can feel it inside. And so this has been my way of figuring out what my purpose is. And every single time I start to question or second guess myself, because I am human, right? And I wonder, like, well, is this right? Or am I doing the right thing? Without failure, the universe will send me a sign and a confirmation through other people affirming that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. Is it going to be easy? No. Will there be challenges where of course, right? Purpose is not easy. And it takes a certain kind of person, I feel, to really walk in it and make that impact that you're going to change lives as a result of knowing why you're here. Again, this is all my insight. This is what I believe. Do what works for you. But hopefully, this can give you some clarity on how you begin to figure out what your purpose is. And because I'm so clear about my purpose, it led me to launch Be Free Project and Girl Be Free, which my whole mission, if you've been listening to this podcast, attending my events, reading the blog, hearing me speak, you know that I am here to teach women how to get unstuck, how to get clear about what you want so that you can cultivate a life that feels good to you inside and out. And when I say stuck, that means that in some area of your life you feel unfulfilled. You are unhappy. You thought that you would be further along than where you're at right now. You thought that your life would look different. And you feel like you're in a rut and you feel like blah and you want more for your life, and you just need to figure out what steps do you need to take. And when I talk about clarity, I'm talking about your mindset. So letting go of the negative thoughts and replacing them with something positive and starting to believe and have confidence in yourself. And then when I talk about cultivating the life you want, I'm talking about being free. Being free to show up for yourself and do the things that you are passionate about, whether that's becoming an entrepreneur, whether that's taking dance lessons, whether that's advancing in your career. What does being free look like to you? And that is how you cultivate a life that feels good to you, because you're doing things that bring you joy and that brings you pure happiness. That is what I believe. And that is what Be Free Project is about, the work that I do. Again, when I'm empowering you by being a light, that means that I'm going to teach you the things that I just shared. And I am a firm believer that in order to know your purpose, you first need to heal from anything that's causing you to feel stuck in your life. You have to begin to peel back the layers of unforgiveness. And every single person, there is a purpose and a calling for your life. And it's up to you to figure it out, right? And I remember, and I probably shared this quote on here before, but Oprah said, if you don't know your purpose in life, your purpose is to figure out your purpose. So stop wasting it on toxic people. Stop wasting time on things that are not adding value to your life, and spend your time and energy figuring out your purpose. So every day, even if you are just taking small steps, right? That is what is necessary in order to begin to shift the direction of your life. And so as I explained this to my mentee, right? She was taking notes, y'all. And I asked her after sharing all of this, I'm like, does this make sense? And she was like, yes, I get it. It totally makes sense. Right. And she smiled. So I'm like, oh, yes, my work is done. Right. And so, again, I'm not saying that this is true for everyone. You have to figure out what that means for you. But here are 3 simple things that you can do to start to figure out your calling and your purpose in life. Y'all know I've been saying, number one, that you have to do the inner work. And I've been talking about this relentlessly on previous episodes about doing the self work. You have to start connecting with yourself on a deeper level. Do not, I repeat, do not compare your life to others, because we're all living our own stories, right? We all are on our own journeys. And so the only comparison that I want you to make is to yourself. So measuring, how were you last month and how are you different this month? What are you doing differently this week than you did last week? You be your own measure of success and keep your eyes straight ahead so that you're not looking at what other people are doing. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you start to journal. And I know I get it, because some people will tell me, well, I don't journal because I don't know what to write about, or I only write about when things are going good. You need the Free Your Mind journal, and this is why. The questions is 40 journal prompts in the journal, right? And the questions in the journal are going to guide you on being empowered, getting clarity, taking action, and shifting your mindset. And you're going to answer the questions based on what you feel inside. And as you write your words on paper, there's a connection there, right? And also, as you write down your words, then you're going to take action based on what you wrote, right? So number one of the questions in the journal is, who do you need to forgive and why? So as you write down that person, whether it's yourself or somebody else that has caused you pain, you're writing down, why do you need to forgive that person and why you need to do it. Then you need to take action and reach out to that person or yourself, whatever that looks like, right? And start to do that work. So you need the Free Your Mind journal. I will link to it in the show notes. And that is going to be the first step in figuring out, okay, getting more connected with your purpose. Number 2 is to get silent and listen to your intuition. Give yourself credit and know that you know more than you think you know, right? So what you've already been searching for as it relates to purpose is already in you. You just need to get silent, right? Block out the noise and just take a moment to just be with yourself. Whether that's just spending 10 to 15 minutes a day, whether early in the morning, on your lunch break, before you go to bed, get quiet and listen. And then I would recommend journaling. What do you feel after the silence? What is going on, right? And then lastly, number 3 is to get creative. So make a vision board. Cut out pictures and words that align with what you feel inside, right? And don't just stop there. Again, I want you to journal on what you desire and what you put on your board is, and see where that's going to lead you. So those are 3 simple things that you can do to get started. And that's actually going to be your action step this week. Choose something from the things that I just shared and put them to action. Whether that's doing the inner work, I created a self work resource guide that you'll find in the show notes that you can download and print out. It's 10 pages for you. Get the Free Your Mind journal. You can get it on Amazon and you can check out all the reviews that are there. I'll also link to it in the show notes. The second one, choose to get silent and listen to your intuition. Or number three, make a vision board. So you get to choose what your action step will be this week, but I want you to do something. And hopefully what I shared today, it gave you some insight on how I figured out what my purpose was and that you can start to figure out, why you are here. And again, I don't want you wasting time. I want you to really spend your life time, right? Your journey on why are you here? And then once you figure that out, how are you going to use it to serve other people? All right. So a couple of things coming up. Actually, before I share what's coming up, I want to share some music that I'm into, right? It's been so much music coming out, y'all. And so I know I said a few episodes ago that I love music, love it better than TV or anything like that. And I'm always listening to good music. And so I'm going to share with you periodically. I wanted to do it every week, but we'll see how it goes. But right now, this is what I'm listening to. J. Cole has a new album called KOD, which is really, really good. Janelle Monáe's new album came out called Dirty Computer. There's some really good songs on there. And then lastly, you probably haven't heard of this artist, or maybe you have. His name is Junie. And the name of his album is Contrast. And this album is actually a little old, from 2013. However, Issa Rae has featured some of his songs on, I want to say Insecure, but I know for sure on her web series that I've heard, like First and some other ones, his music has been featured. And I have been listening to that album from beginning to end. It is so, so good. So check that out. Again, that's J. Cole. His new album is KOD. Janelle Monáe, Dirty Computer, and then Junie, and the title of the album is Contrast. All really, really good music. All right, what's coming up? Let me recap. I had a Be Free Life class this past weekend called Free Your Mind in Yoga, and it was so, 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 so good, y'all. And I was just so pleased with the turnout and just the energy in the room. We practiced yoga with Daybreak Yoga. There was food by Pure Pantry Clee. I taught about freeing your mind, which the information was received so well. The ladies had a workbook to go along with it. And we just talked about embracing positive thinking and practical things that you can put in place to begin to shift the way that you think. And really well received. So I'm very grateful for that experience this past weekend. The next event coming up is the Be Free Meetup, which will be on Friday, May 11th. So you want to get your tickets for that now. It's happening in Cleveland. And you can find tickets by clicking the link in the bio. Lastly, and I'm probably going to talk about this more next week, but I am launching a membership site called the Be Free Inner Circle. Yay! Don't that sound dope? And so if you were in my Facebook group before, I was always in there sharing articles and information, doing doing live streams. And so what I realized is that I wanted to work with a core group of women who are ready to take action. And so the Be Free Inner Circle will consist of monthly group coaching calls, accountability and office hours. I will be sharing articles, content. So, for example, what I taught last weekend, the Free Your Mind, and well, it'll just be Free Your Mind because we won't be doing yoga. But I will be adding content like that in there. So there'll be live streams. And then also extra bonus is that anyone who becomes a member of the Be Free Inner Circle will have access to the Be Free meetups where they'll be able to attend live or they can watch a live stream. So I am launching this really soon. However, if you want to stay in the loop and just know all the things that's happening with it and when it goes live and how you can take advantage of a free trial, there will be a link in the show notes for you to sign up so that you can stay in the loop. I'm excited. It's going to be so dope. And I already have a group of women that are committed right, to the Be Free Inner Circle, and then I'll be opening it up to the public really, really soon. So if you want to know more about it, you definitely want to hop on that list so that I can be able to engage with anyone who's interested. And y'all, that is it. This was a long episode this week, but I hope that you were able to take something away. What I ask of you is that you share this podcast, this episode with a friend. This is how you can do it. Share it on social media. So if you're on Instagram and Facebook, share it there in your Instagram stories, post the link, tell somebody like, hey girl, you need to listen to this Girl Be Free podcast. Number 2, you can text it to a friend. So as you're listening, you can share this episode with a friend or just tell her like, hey girl, go listen to this episode. Lastly, word of mouth is the best. So if you're having a conversation with someone at work and they say, man, I've been struggling, I'm feeling worthless, I want to know my purpose, say, hey, you need to listen to this episode. And that will be more than greatly appreciated by myself, right? So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for sharing this podcast with everyone that you know that you feel would benefit from it. And until next time, girl, be free. Thank you so much for listening. Your support means the world to me. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling really fancy, go ahead and leave a review. Until next time, be free and live.